Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
It is Coffee Ann here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us on Wednesday morning. It's August 23rd, 2023. I'm Joe Callahan. We'll say hi to the Coffee Ann panel this morning. And one of those people happened to be Tim Draper. Hi, Tim.
It does. Hi, Joe.
From Navigant Credit Union.
Thanks for welcoming me back.
Nice to have you back here. You missed John's triumphant return last week.
I did. I feel bad, but I just want to say, welcome back, John. You look great, and happy to.
You weren't here last week. We had Amanda.
I forgot you weren't here last week. That's how memorable I am.
I know.
You weren't here. Melissa bailed early.
That's right. This is amazing.
Wow.
Summer.
It wasn't you,
We're
John,
getting back
honestly.
in our groove. We're getting back in our groove now.
That's Melissa Smith from the St. Antoine Communities. Hi, Melissa.
Morning, everybody.
And John Ward is here as well. Welcome back again, John.
Thank you. And so I guess this is the first time in quite a while that the full wrecking crew is
Full wrecking crew is here, assembled and
in
ready
the
to
house,
go.
as they say.
It's been a bit.
Yes.
It's been a bit.
Well, before we get into everything, Melissa, it's time for your first message, though, from the St. Antoine Communities, please.
Right. So for those of you that don't know a lot about us, St. Antoine Community is a large long-term care campus located in North Smithfield, and we're on the line at Blackstone, Mass. in Woonsocket. On our property, we offer an expansive continuum of services that range from assisted living to short and long-term skilled care. We have a state-of-the-art rehab center, a private hospice suite, as well as a large secured memory care unit. And the two buildings on our property are the Villa at St. Antoine, which is our 76-apartment assisted living facility, and the Residence at St. Antoine, which is our 180-bed short and long-term skilled care facility. So if you're presently at a crossroads with your loved one and trying to determine when is the right time to seek more help and support, I encourage you to reach out to me. I'd be happy to walk you through your options. You can reach me at 401-767-3500 or email me at msmith@stantantoine.net. Thanks.
All right, Melissa, thank you very much. Well, kick things off, we'll say, great job and congratulations to the Smithfield Little League, who did a great job down there in Williamsport. They lost yesterday to the team from El Segundo, California. Final score was 9-3. Better team. Ran into a better team.
Right. But you know what? The kids could have gotten down on themselves and been disappointed and all, but they seemed to have such a great attitude at the end of that game. They were all just smiling and happy and jumping around, and the Castellone kid was probably the happiest of everybody. He's just trying to get the crowd all pumped up. It was good to see.
Yeah.
No, Tim and I played Little League baseball together, and at the most, I think, Tim, we played in front of 30 people.
Maybe.
24,000 people.
Right, can you imagine that?
That's unbelievable.
That's a big following.
Right.
At such a young age.
At such a young age. And there's two stadiums, right? Back
There
to
are
back.
two.
One is for the international play,
Yes.
and the other one's for the
U.S.
U.S. And they fill them both up.
Yeah.
It's just it's crazy, and I can't even imagine what that was all like. My kids played; they weren't that good enough to make the all-star teams, which is fine. Saved me from going to Williamsburg.
Kind of like us.
Yeah, kind of like us. It was good to see. Good sportsmanship.
Yeah.
And they played their hearts out. At least they won a game.
They won two.
Run two games.
And that's it's a cliche, but to make it to Williamsport is an accomplishment
deal.
within itself, and to
Right.
win anything there is huge.
I think that's what the coach said at the end. Was like, you're one of the 10 best teams in the United States.
Yeah, so
they made it as far as they made it.
How great is that? So
I was wondering when we were watching this weekend, I don't know if you saw the footage of all the professional players coming in.
I did.
And
the Phillies
in
and
the
the Nationals were
crowd,
there.
shaking hands with kids,
Yeah.
taking pictures, and I'm thinking, there's a game going on. Those kids are probably like,
I want to watch.
hey, like, I want to go up there and meet so-and-so. Like, this is, I wonder how distracting that was, too, because it's all that attention and
Yeah.
pomp and circumstance for, like, even the professionals coming through.
I'm surprised. I would have thought that the professionals would go meet with the teams first and then go up into
Right.
the crowd.
I think they did.
Maybe
There
they
was
did.
some footage of a bus ride I saw where there were a few professionals on the bus riding with them. But I'm sure there had to have been moments, right?
Yeah.
I would
Otherwise,
say
you've
so.
got little siblings in the stands like, like
I
I
saw
got to
Derek
meet so-and-so.
Jeter.
I met Bryce Harper, and you didn't.
Right.
All right.
Hey, Joe, can I say one real quick
Yeah.
thing? So Melissa had her golf tournament. I don't know if you were going to talk about it or not, but I just want to say that as a participant in the golf tournament for St. Antoine Communities was an excellent event. She and her team executed flawlessly. in terms of all the games that were played. The golf was a lot of fun. The food was great. I had the take home dinner when I got home, and filet mignon and lobster tails.
Wow, all right.
All I did was
And Rice Farm
warming up.
fudge
Oh,
and
that's right.
salad. Yeah,
That's
there's
right.
lots of
And
stuff.
a Boston cream pie bun thing or something. It was just.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. You did a great job. I just want to congratulate you
Thank you.
on such a very good event. And I know those things are not easy to pull off. So
No,
good for you.
and you know, we talked on the air about Kirkbrayde and the fire and
Yeah.
everything that happened. Obviously, we were even pulling in the last few weeks wondering if we were still going to be able to have it because Landmark had to cancel theirs. I will tell you, I'm glad it was smooth to you. It was certainly not smooth for us trying to pivot and figure out everything, layout, logistics, whatever. Their staff was, I felt so bad for them because you could only just, I guess, sympathize with how hard it's been for them to, obviously they just got through a wave of COVID and all the changes that happened with functions and weddings, and then this happens, and I give them a lot of credit. They didn't seem to have like a huge team, but they figured it out. We were one of their only events that they were able to have other than their members type events. They've been having those pretty regularly, but it went off pretty smoothly. A couple minor things, but I just had to give them a little shout out because they were literally rebuilding the roof behind our registration
Right.
table.
The crane was out there.
Where the fire had come through, and when we were there 2 weeks ago for the walkthrough, I didn't even they disguised that so well, that area. I wasn't paying attention to that at all. I was only looking at the rehab happening inside the facility. So to have that part being done while we were there, I'm like,
Yeah.
well, why not? The
It
pictures
had-
were a little special on the out.
That's
outdoors.
right. It added an interesting element.
Yeah, some interesting sound effects.
Right.
But it didn't seem to bother you
No.
all, and a lot of folks, because we were on the members only side, which was
Yep.
such a treat that they allowed us to use that space, are basically saying next year we don't want to go back to the conventional side. We want to we want to stay on the members only side. So we'll see what we can do. But thank you to all of our supporters for coming out. Absolutely, it was a great day.
So the noise from the cranes, Tim, that didn't affect your golf game.
Oh, it was as
something
bad.
to
It was as
blame.
bad as ever.
Bad as ever?
It was
Okay,
not a
good.
problem at all.
You didn't hold. Can we have some quiet?
I had a better shot at hitting
to
the
drive.
crane than I did the hole. So, and that was at the other side. of the
I
course.
would have preferred today. The humidity was
Oh, yeah,
was a
pretty
little
high.
extra
It was-
on
it was-
Monday.
yeah.
It was
Okay.
pretty melty. It was pretty melty.
Right.
All right. Big news story from yesterday. I hope no one got stuck in the traffic on 146 yesterday with the jackknife tractor trailer. Right
don't
by
do
Wilbur
traffic.
Road. You don't do traffic anymore since he's
Not as
retired.
much.
You just stay in your hub up here in
No,
Woonsocket now?
I do some traveling.
Since you're not the finance director of Lincoln,
Still-
this doesn't
still-
affect you at all anymore, right?
No.
I did see the traffic back up because I was going actually north on 146 at the time, coming up by 295. I'm like, wow, look at all the traffic.
I was underneath. I was under on 116 and saw the one side stopped.
Yeah, that's
So
right. That's
I
what I
punched
saw.
Waze into the computer real quick just to see where
Yeah.
the red backup was, and
How long did it
Sherman
say?
Avenue, I think it was where
Yeah.
they started. So my first of all, how does a truck jackknife that like that when they're going straight unless somebody cut them
Somebody
off?
cut them off.
Cut them off,
Right,
or
coming off of Sherman
or
Avenue or something.
animal or
just boom.
something. It just
Maybe,
you just
maybe.
jerk
But that's the problem with
steering wheel.
146. It just blocks the whole road. It's
Yeah.
only 2 lanes, and
And he spilt 100 gallons of fuel, which is actually not a lot.
no, was it just from his fuel tank? I wonder. Must
Yeah.
have just his fuel tank. It wasn't a tanker truck, was it?
It was a tractor trailer.
No, okay. Doesn't seem
And the DEM says 100 gallons of fuel spilled onto the highway. It doesn't say if it was from the truck or from his own
Yeah.
tank. They got an environmental cleanup crew out there to remediate the spill, and they opened up one lane after a while, and things got going better. So,
Yeah.
and I guess the driver of the truck is okay.
Right. Well, the
so
beauty
that's
of
good.
that, not that that's the beauty of the story, but 246 runs right parallel to 146. So
Yeah.
it's, if you reroute traffic, you just put them off
Right
on
on there.
246 and go.
I wonder if people were going that way.
I bet they were.
Yeah.
There was no coming home down 116 towards Cumberland. There didn't look like there was any traffic backup at the lights that put you onto 146 South.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought is maybe they're just putting everybody on that 246 and shooting them down that way.
Was it on a northbound lane or a southbound?
was,
lane?
southbound.
lane. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Then 246 makes sense.
Yeah.
To me, there's nothing crazier than the way they redid that interchange, and you're coming
know.
north on 246,
Right.
and you got nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go.
You,
It's
you
like a
have to
dead
go.
end
You
almost.
have to go east on 116 and then do a U-turn at the next intersection.
Yeah.
It's like you can't get to the Lincoln Commons from
You can't get there from here.
246. Right? Unless you go out up to the light and do an illegal U-turn.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad when Waze tells you, I don't know how to get there.
All right. So, John, was that the shortest council meeting you've ever been to on Monday? We're okay. We're all here. Meeting adjourned.
Okay, I
Within
heard about that.
10 seconds.
I'm going to say this with my tongue firmly planted in cheek. It actually, the 10 seconds was illegal. More, technically. I'm not going to make us think about it.
Yeah.
But technically, if you have to cancel a meeting
You shouldn't have even
for a
convened
lack
it.
of ADA access,
Yeah.
it should not even have hit the gavel and said, call the meeting to order.
Oh, I see.
That action violates the law. Taking the roll call violated the law. Doing the prayer and the pledge was part of the agenda,
Yeah.
violates the law.
Wow.
Adjourning violates the law. So what should have happened was simply an announcement that we can't because the elevator was out of service, I'll call it. I'm not saying not operational because people were using it, but it apparently
Well,
may
how
have
could it
had
be-
some-
how could it be out
I
of
think it had
service?
some mechanical issues that had it skipping things or bouncing or doing something
Mm-hmm.
that would potentially be a hazard or safety problem, so they put signs up that said they were out of order.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Town-
can prohibit
town
the
halls and
public from
elevators,
using the
bad news.
elevator on a third floor meeting, then it's not handicapped accessible, and therefore you cancel a meeting.
Providence had a bit of an issue, too, with their
Well, it was funny
elevator.
because we talked about it yesterday. Two city halls, 2 elevator problems. Good conspiracy theory.
Yes, it has to do with those UFOs.
Yes, yes. Okay.
I-
Now, has Monday's?
Or what? I forgot. I just read something. Somebody put in a conspiracy theory on Facebook about some HAARP up in Alaska that the government set up, and it was to test the usability of the ionosphere to do certain things, and then they
Wow.
realized it was wasting their time and money and turned it over to the University of Alaska. And it's one of those conspiracy theories things where they're saying they're using this thing up in Alaska to do all kinds of things, including changing the weather and chemtrails all over the world to change the upper atmosphere. And oh God,
All right, that's good
just
conspiracy theory.
watch Congress and tell me that we're smart enough to do the stuff they accuse us of. I have more belief in UFOs, which I have no belief in.
Now, Monday's meeting has it been rescheduled yet?
Well, it was planned to go to next week, but it looks like that might be a problem, so it may actually be put off until the Tuesday after Labor Day.
Okay.
But this Thursday, we're having a special meeting at 11 in the morning just to clear off some of the license renewals and transfer license requests that were on there that are sort of time sensitive, and a couple of use of city parks for functions that are scheduled before September 1st. So we're going to clear up some non-ordinance items in a special meeting, non-controversial stuff. We'll leave the rest of the things until a future date.
Where would you guys go, John, if you couldn't have a meeting in City Hall for a
If we
while?
couldn't have a meeting in Harris Hall, if I had my druthers and we actually had another location to call City Hall, if we didn't have it in Harris Hall, I think the next best alternative is the meeting room at the library is a good space. The auditorium at one of the middle schools or the high school are good spaces. The cafetorium at the middle school where the school committee meets.
That's what I was
Is a good-
thinking.
is
With the
a
school
good
committee
space.
meets. Yeah.
The trick is with all of the connections with Paul Jacobs and the video and the cameras that are now set up in Harris Hall, so
Right.
we have our YouTube channel and all of that stuff. I wish we could get it to the level that Lincoln got it to, where they have the conference room cameraed. So they literally have every board and commission that meets in town hall now. It records their meetings on video and
So they put a
streams them live and stores them in the system, so you can go back and watch the meetings on video and hear them.
So they permanently installed camera systems in there. And
There are
somebody-
cameras installed in Harris Hall now, so you get
Okay.
there's 3 cameras. It gets a picture of either the dais, the table where the public works director sits on the one side, or the table on the other side. And I had them adjust the camera so they're a little more close up than that. And the one on one side actually picks up the podium where the public comes to speak. And they're supposed to be working on cameras for the meeting room downstairs, so if we have a meeting down there, they can tie into those cameras
Yep.
and we can do it. But I think it would be more impressive if we could get the second floor cameras done with microphone tie-ins, so that planning board meetings, zoning board meeting meets upstairs, but they don't use the system, and they should. Investment board, personnel board, all of the boards should be
I mean, with the technology now,
doing
it's a
video
matter.
recordings of their meetings so that people can observe them.
Right. It's just a matter of money at this point for the equipment, I guess, and then you got to find somebody who can run
The
it.
equipment's not that expensive,
Yeah.
and the systems. I know the system in Lincoln is comprised of a desktop computer and a little board. You push a button, it switches the camera. The microphones are already tied in, and in Lincoln they have 2 cameras, one facing the dais and one facing the. No, they have 3 cameras. One facing the table with a town administrator or whoever the lawyers coming in for zoning board or planning board meetings, and then there's another camera for the other table.
Sounds like Cumberland.
And then one of them hits each of them hits a public microphone, so it's possible. It's just that you need to have the desire and intent to want to be that public and that transparent in your government and make it a priority. In Lincoln, it became a priority, so if you can go on and watch all the meetings.
Okay. Break time wants to start right now on Coffee and, so it's back over to Melissa Smith for a second message from the St. Antoine communities.
Didn't see that coming. Sorry, I was sipping my coffee.
Did not see that. You have a second message every week.
I do. I lost track of time.
Comes
Look
up
at
quick.
us. I know, right? So yeah, we have about 2 weeks left to our raffle contest coming up at St. Antoine Community. We're doing a high stakes raffle, $20 a ticket. You can swing by either location, the Villa at St. Antoine, which is 400 Mendon Road, or 10 Rhodes Ave, which is the residence location. The grand prize is $1,000, second prize $500 in cash, third prize $250, and fourth prize $250. So grab your tickets while you can. We actually are doing really well, hoping possibly to raise close to $10,000, fingers crossed. So exciting. If you want to be a part of it, swing by one of those spots or give me a call at 401-767-3500 for more information. Thank you.
All right there, Melissa. Thanks. And comments and questions can be called in 766-1240. Coffee and will return.
Rhode Islanders need a strong and effective leader in Congress, and more importantly, someone they can trust. I'm Stephen Casey. As a 17-year first responder with the Woonsocket Fire Department, I will never forget where I came from or who I work for. In my 10 years in leadership at the State House, I've brought people together from competing interests to find compromise and common ground, which is what this country needs. I'm Stephen Casey. I'm asking for your vote now through September 5th. You've counted on me. Now I hope I can count on you.
Paid for Casey for Congress.
I'm Stephen Casey, and I approve this message.
Hi, this is Noel Pinsent. Myself and Reverend Ryan Simus will present a fabulous show by Father Pat from La Salette Shrine. It will take place on Sunday, September 10th, and that is Grandparents' Day at 3:30. The doors will open at 3 p.m. at St. Joseph Church, Mendon Road in Woonsocket. Father Pat will present inspiring music. This event is sponsored by the Pepin family. Pre-sale tickets on sale now, $10 at Pepin Lumbers on Cumberland Hill Road. The day of the concert, $12. Cash only, no checks or credit cards. The address for Pepin Lumber, 830 Cumberland Hill Road. And we're going to help New Beginning Soup Kitchen and the St. Joseph Cupboard. Hope to see you there.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
We're local and live at 99.5 FM.
Coffee and on ON, AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with John Ward, Melissa Smith, and Tim Draper. And just in case you hadn't heard, the tornado last week, strongest we've had in Rhode Island in 30-some-odd years. Strongest since 1986.
That would mean the strongest since the one that tore off the roof on a mill in Providence.
Did we talk? We haven't
because
seen each other since then.
My car window was destroyed by that tornado because I parked in an alley to run into the office in downtown, and there was dumpsters on wheels in the alleyway.
Yeah.
The dumpster, one of those posts on the side.
Oh, right in
It
the
rolled around and slammed into my window.
God.
I came out to my car with a window gone.
Wow.
Oh my
I remember
God.
that. I was in the office and windows were shaking like crazy. I was down on Westminster and Weybosset Street. And
I don't recall there ever being a lot of tornadoes in Rhode Island, but apparently it is more frequent than I even thought. And they may not be bad ones, but
I don't remember any when I was younger.
Right.
But that one 30 years ago, that was actually my first experience about
86,
reading about tornadoes. We always thought of them as something happened in Worcester.
Yeah.
And since then, there have probably been 4 or 5 events over
This
the
summer
years.
alone, it feels like we had a little debate. Wasn't really a debate. My husband and I had a little fight. We had a little fight on Friday. 9 o'clock, that alert came on. It was just before 9, I feel like, right? Like around 8:45. Actually, you guys might not have gotten it. I'm in North Smithfield. We got the tornado warning around 8:45. Did you get it up here?
I got it on my phone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're in
red-
Woonsocket.
I got
Did you get it in
three-
Cumberland?
I got 27 red code reds.
So when that happened at 8:45-ish, whatever, I'm in a meeting at work, and everyone starts panicking. We're on a slab at work. There's no basement level in our assisted living or our nursing home. So you kind of sit there and say, oh, geez, what do? We're, ground level. It's saying take shelter. Where do you put people? So it was sparking a conversation. Meanwhile, I realize, oh, my goodness, my daughter is about to have her first driving instructing lesson, getting picked up at 9 o'clock at my house. And I look down at the alert on the phone, and it basically says, like, the 295 belt from North Smithfield area, Woonsocket area, down through Johnston is, like, lit up like a Christmas tree. Basically, don't go there.
Yeah.
So I call my husband who's home, and I'm like, listen, should we be letting her on this driving lesson? It's her first one. They're supposed to go on the highway. The plan is to go 146 to 295 down to Johnston, the BJ's parking lot. The guy's supposed to take her around there a couple of times, do some parking. He's like, she'll be fine. In fact, the guy's already here. I'm like, I don't think we should be letting her out yet. Just invite him in for a cup of coffee. Like, delay it, whatever you need to do. And he's like, Melissa, she's got to learn sometime. I'm like, not in a tornado, And of course, I'm looking out the window at work, and you just see the trees are just swaying hard. There's like pummeling rain. There's a mixture of hail. I'm like, and I live around the corner from work, so whatever I'm seeing out my window is what's happening at my house. And so we hang up in very, opposite sides of this. And I'm sitting around a table at my morning briefing meeting with all moms. And I surveyed the group. And they all thought I was crazy for being stressed. They all
Really?
supported it. And I'm
Wow.
looking at, would you have allowed your kids to go out in that moment?
You might hate me, but yes.
God.
I'm on your husband's side
Come
on this one.
on, John.
Sorry.
Think
if
of your
if you know that they're
grandchildren.
going down
Skip
295,
a
Oh, sure.
group.
Do that. Pull that card
Go
out.
to the
you know that
soft
they're
spot.
traveling down 295 and they're talking about it hitting the 295 circle, and I'd probably maybe ask to have the instructor
In a Ford Focus.
But knowing the nature of tornado warnings and seeing how fast that front was going, I may have said, could you just wait 15 minutes before you leave?
That's all
Right.
I asked for, John. 15
Because that's all
minutes
it takes for something like that to be
to go
gone.
through.
Yeah.
And you know,
Yeah.
I think the last one was what, 5 or 6 years ago, the one that ripped through Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Down by the casino.
And I remember seeing some tornado damage up in Blackstone some years ago,
Yep.
but that was quite a while ago.
Well, we had just been through one I shared on the air, the one up in Brockton a couple weeks prior to. So I'm still feeling that, and I know how it feels on
Oh,
the
that's what you
highway to be
guys-
in the
that's
middle
what
of
you guys
a
have, yeah.
tornado.
I've seen a section of woods cut out along Route
Yes.
28 up in New Hampshire one time.
Right.
That
Right.
did
It's
some
amazing
pretty
the damage.
severe
Well, that footage in Situate looked just like that. I mean, all the trees were just,
Yeah.
the tops were taken. It was, who pays for that, by the way? I was watching the guy get interviewed on the news
Who
in
cleans it up?
Situate. Well, you're thinking to yourself, yeah, you own 2 or 3 acres of property, but they've all been destroyed. So is that insurance covered or no? Because that tree removal is
I don't know.
really
Yeah.
expensive.
Right.
I mean,
Well, they
and
don't
we
have to
have
cut them
similar-
down. That's the good part.
It's on your land.
They're already down.
yeah, but then you have all
it's on your land, you
stumps,
can leave them
you
there.
know?
That's
And-
true,
And you
you
don't
can.
just want like dead half trees laying all
That's
over your
what
property
creates the
because it gets
forest fires.
stinky. Yeah, and you start to say, because we have a lot of woods around our house, and I thought, who would ever pay for it? Tree removal is very expensive.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Tornado damage is covered by insurance, but I don't know
think so.
if tornado damage
Up to 5 trees,
woods and
not
stuff.
300
Right,
maybe.
yeah.
I don't know.
Could we rephrase that and say that everything is expensive?
Everything is
Everything is
expensive.
expensive.
I know,
Ugh.
right?
Well, this tornado, the EF2, it traveled 9.1 miles.
Cool.
Before it dissipated or wherever it did, and it got estimated wind peaks of 115 miles per hour. And it's funny, both Channel 10 and Channel 12, if you go to their websites, you can read about the woman that was in the car that
Yeah.
got picked up
Right,
and
and
spun
dropped
around.
down.
So how did it feel? They asked
like
her.
Dorothy from
She
The
goes,
Wizard of Oz.
It was harrowing. What do you think it felt like?
Can you
to be driving
imagine?
your
What were you
car.
thinking at
Now-
that moment?
Now I'm up in the air. Oh shit, this is not good.
That
This
was
is
only
not good at
supporting
all.
evidence, though, going back to the Brockton tornado, saying to my
Yeah.
husband when things quieted down and we were finally in like a safe spot, I'm like, what would we have done? He's like, Melissa, it's not like it's going to lift you up and spin you around. That
That's
footage,
exactly what happened.
Yes,
I
it
turned to
can.
him and said, obviously,
See?
that's what would happen.
I don't think a house, but yeah, a car.
So
Well,
what I
cars.
found
Cars.
interesting was the image that you see on television with the tornado going behind the car across 295.
Yeah.
I heard that was recorded in a Tesla. So does Tesla have like recording capabilities in all of the cameras that surround the car? Like if you have like my wife's car's cameras all over the place,
Probably.
and so it's like there must be a data bank where they can just go in and
Teslas
go.
have a lot
see
of
that.
gadgets.
They do. I
It's
just
scary, though, right? I mean, here we go
but
again.
but you know what? I mean that's interesting that they are recording.
Everything.
Yeah, because you're not gonna be driving along going, let me get my cell phone out and then go like this and catch the thing in the back, right? So it's
I
got
know
the
how.
car has to be doing it itself.
Did it have to be
Yes, yeah.
initiated by the driver to like
I
get
don't
the
know.
cameras
Let me
on?
see. To say it like a good Tesla driver would say, or Sheldon Whitehouse. I'm so pedestrian.
So pedestrian.
All right.
boy.
Sheldon Whitehouse is having a fundraiser.
Oh yes.
Are you going?
No.
No, you're not invited.
No.
This is down into Jamestown.
Oh.
If you want to go, at private residence for Sheldon. He's running for his 4th term. Is there anyone running against him?
Oh, I think there's already 2 Republicans announced.
Really?
Patricia
Okay.
Morgan's one of them. She's
Okay.
planning
Yeah.
to run.
All right, it's going to the newly formed White House Victory Fund 2024.
I sometimes wish she weren't quite so strident in her views that are
Yeah.
a little bit strong to the right side of things.
Well, even more
Word.
fun, Bernie Sanders is coming to town.
I won't be there either.
Sunday. He's coming to support Aaron Regenberg for his candidacy.
Or as
in,
Dave
District
said
1.
in his
Or Regenberg, yeah.
Regenberger.
All right.
I heard that coming in this morning too.
Did anyone catch any of the debate held last night?
There was
For
a
the-
debate last night?
Yeah, at Rhode Island College.
I don't need to listen to a debate.
Okay, I don't even know if
done my
I don't
home-
know
I've
if
done
it's
my
televised or
homework.
anything like that.
I want all the liberals, the super liberals, the ultra progressives to spread out their vote so thin that someone rational will win.
I don't know. You know, Matos is out front with Regenberg a close second.
Oh yeah, there's no
According to the
polls.
latest
There's no
polls.
poll
gonna s-
results to say that.
gonna say,
It's
who's
just- They're all
polling?
measured by money.
Right.
That
I
was
think-
because it just says 2 front runners in the race, and
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
what they're going by. Who's
Declared
spending
by
the
the
most?
media by
Yeah.
spending.
Okay.
right. Because I don't think there is a poll.
This is
for
going to be
race.
more of a ground game, I think.
Yep.
And again, it's that progressive wing that has declared themselves not Democrats, but actually participating as Democrats, but democratic socialists. That so many belong to now.
Are they going to keep sniping at each other so badly
I hope
that
so.
they knock each other out?
I hope so.
Because that's what it goes on.
Well,
He
somebody,
complains to her about
some
the
public official
the
just
signatures.
rescinded his
That was in
endorsement
Smithfield.
of Sabina. Was it Smithfield?
Yes.
Town
in
councilor in Smithfield
Town
did that
councilor
yesterday.
in
Yeah,
Smithfield.
that's interesting.
So-
Never seen that happen.
He goes after her.
She asked me for an
Did she go
endorsement.
after
She
you?
called me and spoke with me about endorsing her early on.
Yeah.
And I said, thank you, no, I don't know enough about the candidates. And as an unaffiliated voter, I'm glad to see that a ton of people have disaffiliated from parties
Yeah.
so that they could, and that is always a clue that they intend to participate in the Democrat primary as former Republicans because they want to affect the outcome there. Whether or not it's to achieve the result of electing a Republican or simply to keep out the socialist wing,
Yeah.
as it were. And I think that's more about that. And that could be a game changer. I don't know that it's tens of thousands of people, but it was over 1,000, I thought I saw in the Journal in an article yesterday or the day before.
Well, I think if they don't watch it, they're going to knock each other out.
Well, I think that's why Matos came out yesterday and asked that anybody that doesn't look like they're actually in the race should consider
out.
supporting one of the leading candidates and drop out.
Ooh,
And it's
wow.
like, oh, well, you know, she's the only one that's done internal polling, and the first one came out in her favor, but it had a huge undecided number. She had 20-some%. Nobody else was above 15, but the undecided was in the 40% plus range. And
Wow.
she apparently did another poll and hasn't released the results. And now she's asking people to drop out of the race and endorse leaders. That tells me that her support maybe has
Waned.
fallen off a bit.
But where's
waned.
it gone to?
And Well, I think what's happening is a lot of the
Undecideds.
undecideds may be deciding, and God, I hope it's not for Reaganburg.
That's
But
what I'm wondering.
it may be some of the formerly lesser-known candidates are becoming more well-known. I know Steve Casey has been advertising on a lot on radio.
Started to see signs for Steve
both
around,
up
too.
here in Northern Rhode Island and on Providence stations.
He is helping
And
with
I
them.
don't know that he has enough for TV ads, but he had enough money for radio ads, and so he's trying to reach out that way. And he's trying to attract the more conservative voter, the more what I would call middle of the road.
Yep.
And he's done well, I guess, in his public appearances on television for the events that they've invited him to.
Because I asked him, I go, are they attacking you too, Steve? Everybody attacks. That was his answer. So, okay, there you go.
That's the way it works.
It's an honest answer.
That was. All right, we're going to take a break here on the Coffee and program. More is coming your way right now. Time for the weather forecast being brought to you by Positive Coaching Alliance.
Sunny skies today with a high of 76 degrees and a breeze from the north. Tonight, mostly clear, overnight low of 54. Thursday's weather, partly sunny, high of 73. Thursday night, rain begins. Friday, rain is likely with a high of 72. Saturday, mostly cloudy skies, high of 76. Only a 30% chance of rain now on Saturday and Saturday night. Sunday, mostly sunny and 72. Monday, sunshine and 74. And on Tuesday, partial sunshine and 75.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street under the sunny skies, we have 65 degrees. Questions about youth or high school sports, Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit organization, develops better athletes and better people through youth and high school sports. Information at positivecoach.org.
Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal real special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogi with onions and dirty sour cream, or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported goods. We're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 to 6, Wednesdays 9 to 5, and Saturdays 8 to 5. Follow us on Facebook to learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street in Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love. You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. Like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
Hi, this is Gary Smith. Join me for Do You Remember, Tuesday through Friday mornings at 9:30 here on ON Radio.
Coffee and on ON. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with John Ward, Melissa Smith, and Tim Draper. And Tim, time for your first message from Navigant Credit Union.
Thank you, Joe. Normally we talk about our consumer business products, but today I thought I'd delve a little bit into our business products, and because there's a lot of small business owners out there who listen to the radio show. So, we've designed our Quest Business Suite of solutions to give you the support you need to build your business. You can choose from deposit, lending, savings products, and account management tools customized to your needs. You just have to give us a call, and we're going to send one of our business bankers out to talk to you about our Quest Business checking and money market accounts, all paying very competitive rates at the moment. We have a business Visa debit card, which earns you points and cash back if you would like to use those. Our lending products and services across the spectrum, from financing your buildings and equipment to purchasing new automobiles or new trucks. All of this is available through online banking, so you can use an online banking tool. We have cash management service, merchant services, the old-fashioned night deposit boxes for folks who want to make their deposits at night, and then our very successful Bank at Work program, where we'll come to you to talk to your employees about their banking needs. So if you're interested in any of our business products, please reach out 233-4700 and ask for somebody from our business banking team, and they'll come out and see you. Toot sweet.
Toot sweet.
How about that, huh?
Good one. Excellent. All right. Let me know, is this a good idea or not a good idea? The disciplinary records of police officers in Massachusetts are now available to the public.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Like
can go look them up online.
Thousands of complaints, apparently.
And they range from anywhere from a parking ticket up to the real nasty stuff. All right. They have on the site over 2,100 names. And the records include officers who have resigned or retired in order to avoid any disciplinary action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that some of that is just...
Is it needed? Is it a...
Well, it's
does
a
the public
response
need
to the
know?
whole people are, not trusting police because they have the officer's Bill of Rights and that. I think that it's a perception thing. I understand that there's a fairness issue there as well, but, it's a perception thing. I think people just think that they're trying to avoid being held accountable for anything that they do. And I think this is the other side of the argument that says we're going to make everybody accountable by just telling everybody what's out there. And so I don't know if it's a great idea or not, but it certainly seems to scream transparency from somebody's perspective.
I think it's a difficult question. I don't particularly think it's a good idea to have I hope it's not every disciplinary record.
It is.
What about the complaints that turn into a discipline that turns into maybe a one-day suspension or administrative work in the office for 2 days? Is that something that the public really needs to know? The other problem is
every time they've been
sometimes the
disciplined, I guess,
complaints.
yeah.
I was watching a video the other day, yesterday actually. It was one of these police videos where the police were confronted by somebody who was acting a little crazy. It was a woman, and she was slapping the policeman in the face.
Well, I saw this
Hard.
video.
And then
She got
the
clocked.
cop behind swings his arm around and
Caught her right in the
catches
face.
her in the face. and
Knocked
boom,
her out.
She's down. And of course, everybody's cheering, saying what a great thing that the cop in the back did. But I can see a lawsuit coming. I can see a legitimate complaint, because if the officer's behind the woman, the minute her arms go down to her side after the second or third time that she smacked the cop, who took it,
Yeah.
and didn't
do-
pursue, just took it.
Didn't retaliate.
You've got, there were 3 cops in the picture. You just take your arms, you wrap them around the woman, and
Yeah.
hold it tight while the one in the front gets control of her. You don't need to knock her out cold onto the ground to control the situation, and that's really all about training and controlling your emotions, and that's a hard thing to do, but it's part
It
of the
is.
job of being a cop. But if it's a minor infraction, like the handcuffs were too tight and they left a mark on the wrist, does that have to be a complaint that ends up being publicly disclosed because Officer so-and-so brutalized?
Would you be disciplined for that?
Can
though?
you? Well,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Yeah.
It depends on the circumstance, I guess. Depends on what the provocation was. I mean, the woman police officer who ended up accidentally pulling her revolver instead of or 9mm instead of her taser, ended up killing someone and was charged with murder.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever ended up being a guilty verdict, but she resigned, and she claims it was accidental. I have, obviously one's a plastic thing that feels like a toy, the other's a gun. But go pick up some guns and tell me that those handles aren't plastic. In some cases, they're not all cold steel. So there's a million stories out there, and I hesitate to think that every infraction of every police officer should be out there for the public to see.
I agree.
I don't know.
766-1240. We just got a note in.
But let
that's
me just
the
add
call.
one more thing before
All
I
right.
open the note. There are many cops that I would fire immediately because I know of their attitude, and some of them walk around like they have a chip on their shoulder and want to use their power
bad?
to bully people. I mean, there
Okay.
is. There's a group of people that are cops that are very legitimate, hardworking, fine people who are otherwise good members of the community, and then there are those who become cops because they managed to escape becoming criminals.
Yeah. Okay. To the panel, police. The caller thinks it's a bad idea to bring up the past. Certainly put into effect ASAP.
So, so.
Quite sure I understand
I
what that
mean,
means.
I get that. I understand that if an infraction occurred 10 years ago, has there been growth and maturity, and so we shouldn't be looking at the past,
Yeah.
just starting it like today's, you know,
Right.
Going
today
forward.
Going forward.
maybe. But I'm agreeing with everything John said, and I have to say, I know that always
is a
warrants a gasp.
historic moment.
But this is non-political, so this is
life.
okay. This is
is life.
We-
John's going back to rehab.
oh my goodness.
It's a big one, Elizabeth.
No.
Coming to you, honey.
But there has to be
You got
a
a
way
brown
to.
paper bag?
Oh my gosh,
He's
I can't.
hyperventilating.
My head goes into like an Excel spreadsheet, right? I just feel like you have to be able to color code, sort, whatever. But I feel like there has to be like a above minor infraction.
Of course.
And to the
Yeah.
top extremes
That's why I
posted,
don't
but
know
not all
whether-
those minor things. Or if someone's saying like in the last 5 years, for example,
And-
or if
and
there's a pattern.
Here's
of,
what I suspect may happen now, and it's already happening, is police officers, knowing that if they do something untoward, could end up in a public record that people will call them out for later, stop doing their job.
Yeah.
Just like with the defund the police and the backlash over these videos that everybody's taking, they hesitate to do their job properly and aggressively to protect people from crimes, because if I do anything, like if I trip that guy as he's running out of the store with $5,000 worth of goods
I'll
and
be
he
wrong.
injures himself,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be the one accused of doing something wrong, I'll, guess what? Let him go. We'll figure it out
Later. Okay.
and they just stop doing their job, and that could be the effect of this public disclosure of all of this discipline is, okay, you don't want me to I don't want to get in trouble, so I'll just do nothing,
Yeah.
and then we don't have police protection.
Okay. On another
Wow.
subject, do people know? Do you know where Kingston, Massachusetts is?
I,
Actually,
No.
do not.
is that Kingstown or
No,
Kingston?
Kingston.
give us like a north,
It's-
south,
it-
east, west.
It's near Plymouth. It's near Plymouth.
oh, okay.
So if you go
okay.
down Route 3 and keep going down, you'll go through it.
You'll hit
Okay.
the ocean.
Yeah.
Me in the bay.
But there's a man down there. He's accused of placing boulders on Route 27 in
Oh, I saw
Kingston numerous times since February. Police say the actions of Cameron Currier, who's no kid, he's 31, had led to the damage of at least 11 vehicles. Some likely continued on and did not report the damage, so the damage might be to more cars than just 11. Other vehicles had their undercarriages ripped out, causing fluid leaks and some airbag deployments. He's charged with 11 counts of malicious damage to a motor vehicle.
Well, two things. One is at my age, 31 is a kid.
All right.
Secondly, what a jerk.
Well,
Throw him in jail.
What is wrong with people? We usually throw that line
I
in
know,
here
that
on
one-
the
There
show
you go.
at least once a week.
What is wrong?
What is wrong with people?
like you got to think, he must be doing it at night. He's going to hang out in the shadows, and then he's going to watch the accident happen.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think
Go,
the
"Ooh,
penalty
wow, what
should
happened?"
be
We take
go
your
to
car
his
away.
house, put one in the middle of his driveway, take his car, jam
Run
it
it
over the
over.
top of it.
And then go away.
What's
And then-
what's the saying? It's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's
Yeah.
like the kids that throw rocks off of bridges, you know?
Yeah. Right.
It's all fun and
I
games
do
until
agree. There
somebody
should be like
dies.
an intent to kill. Like I
And-
think there
and
needs
with
to
that
be
kind of thing,
a more severe.
somebody twists their wheel real hard and loses control and slams
Spins
into
the car.
another
Yeah.
car head on or goes off the road.
Yep.
Somebody could have died.
Well, since no one got hurt, I guess
Oh,
he's
yeah,
not
it'll-
charged with any
it'll
kind of
be a
attempted
less-
murder. It's
But
just
what was
the
the
malicious
goal,
damage.
right? So you're
What
talking.
is the- I
I mean,
don't
and
know.
what could have been the outcome? And I feel like that should be the bigger.
Does that all depend on what size the boulder is? And
If
what
they-
constitutes a boulder?
If someone
unless they
stabs
ch-
you, let's just
Yes.
say, and they don't die, but the intent was still there to hurt them
you,
or to
yeah.
kill them, I feel like,
See-
right, this is no different. This is, you're putting
Sounds
something
like
in
an
the middle of
idiot
a
that
road.
thinks, oh, I think I'll just damage some oil pans and we'll be done with it, but not realizing how much other
Right.
damage
Yeah,
it
but you
could
could really do.
But who get so?
You know?
Yeah.
Does the insurance company now, or the owner of the car with the damage, can they go after that guy personally now for?
Well, he's only been
for
accused.
costs?
He hasn't been guilty of anything yet.
Right, so they have to find him
So,
guilty.
I guess the answer would be yes. Let's go sue him.
Yeah.
Gee,
Oh, the
I
insurance company can go sue him.
I
much
wonder
money
what a
does he have?
31-year-old putting rocks on the road has for a net worth.
Yeah, I know.
little on
But you
the
know
low
what?
side.
I'm going to garnish his wages from Dunkin' Donuts forever.
What are they going to take his vaping devices away? And his video games, his
Quite
PS4,
possibly. And his Xbox.
or his Xbox. Yeah.
I'm going to add it to the
and
list
his-
of
and
things
his
I'm training
iPhone.
my daughter to look out for on the highway now, and also
What?
look out for boulders in the
What?
middle of the road.
Boulders
Like,
in the middle of the road.
it's so
on those
sad.
on those 2-lane roads
People are
with
just
not
stupid.
a lot of lights.
It's like the Flintstones all over again. Boulders in the middle of the road.
Yeah, you know what's right on the side of 2-lane roads often? Trees.
That's right. All right. Break time once again here on the Coffee and Program. So, Tim, back to you for a second message from Navigant Credit Union.
Right, Dutch. Just our weekly PSA about fraud and being your best advocate as a consumer. I'd like to say that we're noticing a downward trend in the number of fraud cases that we have to try to thwart at the credit union, but unfortunately, that is not the case. People come into us every week with potential for being scammed, and our team does its very best to try to make sure that those events don't happen. Which means that we probably ask you questions that you might think are invasive or unnecessary for us to ask. But please know that we're not doing it because we're prying. We're doing it because we're trying to make sure that you're not getting scammed or taken advantage of in any way, shape, or form. And we stop a lot of them, by the way. Just so you
good.
know, we do.
Yeah.
We stop a lot of these attempts. The teller to the member service rep, right to our security team, oftentimes work with our members to help them understand what's going on, what's happening, the type of fraud that they're being victimized by, and we can generally stop it. But there are some that it's too late,
Yeah,
and
it
we
falls through the
can't.
cracks,
It falls
yeah.
through the cracks, and so we just want you to know that at Navigant Credit, we are concerned about your information. We're concerned about your financial well-being, and part of that is to make sure that you don't get scammed, and so we're going to try to prevent that from you. So 233-4700 if you're ever concerned about that potential and you want to talk to somebody about it, or if you want to see us online at navigantcu.org, there's a whole section on consumer frauds.
All right, very good there, Tim. More of the Coffee and Program is coming your way. Please stay tuned. Parents, as you know, there's a lot to get done to get your kids ready for back to school. New clothes, new sneakers, maybe a new backpack. Plus, notebooks and other supplies need to be rounded up. Now, in the middle of all of this, remember to get your kids a back-to-school haircut at Edge Barbershop and Hair Salon. Kids 10 and under can get a fantastic back-to-school haircut for just $18. Stop into Edge Barbershop and Hair Salon today, and Jen, Celeste, or Angel will be ready to serve you. No appointment needed. Edge Barbershop and Hair Salon on Pulaski Boulevard, Bellingham, your full-service barbershop for men, women, and children. Get that back-to-school haircut today. At the turn of this century, 27% of people who passed away were cremated. By the year 2020, that figure rose to 56%. The Cremation Association of America projects that by the year 2040, 4 out of 5 Americans will choose cremation over a casket burial. Berarducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center of Woonsocket can answer your questions about the cremation process. Go online to providencecremation.com. Berarducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center on Spring Street, Woonsocket. Let them create the perfect service for your loved one. Berarducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center.
Hello, I am Paul LaValle, and on September 9th at 2 p.m., the pro-life members of St. Joseph's in Woonsocket will be hosting a remembrance ceremony for the unborn. Location is Resurrection Cemetery in Cumberland on West Rentham Road. It will be held at the monument of the unknown baby Mary. We invite you and hope you can join us.
Coffee In on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us this morning. My name is Joe Callahan, here with Tim Draper, Melissa Smith, and John Ward. And we always like to get to the weird stories this time of the year and this time of the show.
John's missed these.
And we always like to run it by Melissa. Do you want the good story, or do you want the story that make your skin crawl, or the one that's going to say what's wrong with people?
I need to end on a high as we close out the show today, so let's start with the skin crawling stuff and get it over with.
Okay. Do you enjoy going to the Olive Garden? Restaurant?
Been in a
Haven't
really
been in a
long
long time.
time.
Okay. John, you been to the Olive Garden?
I have been. It's been quite some time.
Oh, okay. A lawsuit's been filed against a Michigan Olive Garden restaurant after a man says he was served soup with a severed rat's leg in
What?
it.
Can't.
Now, Thomas Howie said he went to the Olive Garden in Warren, Michigan, back in March with friends, and while eating some soup, he felt a sharp stab in his cheek and discovered something covered in fur. A doctor,
my.
later confirmed it was part of a rat, and it gave Howie a tetanus shot and antibiotics. Howie claims in his lawsuit that Olive Garden management has refused to acknowledge what has happened, and he's seeking damages of more than $75,000.
You think he found a Dr. Summeroff to help him with that?
How do you ever go out to eat anywhere again without like
Poking
pushing your
poking
finger through
around.
everything?
Well, on a more positive note, I just read an article that says that protein from meat is more beneficial than protein from vegetable material because it provides more essential amino acids in your bloodstream. So
Regardless of the
benefits,
source
even
of
if it's a rat
I
protein?
thought he was going to say there's one less rat.
He benefits even from a rat's leg.
Oh,
Oh
all
my.
right.
I think I
Except,
choose
unless
a
it was the
different protein.
bone.
Can I just have peanut butter?
I can't believe you just
All right. This is the one that's going to make you think, what is wrong with people? Here we go. A Michigan man is accused of spraying bodily fluid from a syringe on a woman shopping at a Walmart in northwest Indiana.
Bodily fluid. Why do I suspect it wasn't saliva?
Don Trell Morris has been charged with sexual battery and battery by
Ew.
bodily waste for the incident on August 14th. Authorities believe the substance in the syringe was semen. Morris left the scene and was arrested in a nearby parking lot. He's been held behind bars on $15,000 bond.
So what
here
is-
he's walking around with a syringe of this stuff.
What is wrong with people?
What is going? Doesn't say if he knows the woman, and then but squirts it at her.
so disturbing.
I gotcha.
I can't believe you're sharing this.
It is disturbing on
Next
every
item.
on every next.
It's just so bizarre.
Junk.
You just gave some listeners the idea
Oh,
of
there's a
going
good- there's
into
a
the
good
local
idea.
Walmart.
Yeah.
I can't.
Now I can't go to Walmart. Thanks, Joe.
Sorry about that.
Now, everybody out there can think about how this guy took that material and put it into the
I
syringe
don't-
in order to do
We are just next story.
Next story. Moving on. All right. I don't know if you heard this survey. It indicates 1 in 3 Americans have a tattoo.
Yeah,
Well, I believe
saw
that.
All right.
I can see that.
I feel like we're warming up to the good stuff.
You're getting there.
Everyone feel
This is
that?
better.
It's a little swing
Yes.
happening.
Now, those doing the artwork say the growing popularity is driven in part by social media. Tattoo artist Lorraine Hendricks has been doing tattoos for 2 decades, and she says it's no longer just young men who want the artwork; they're working with more women.
Yeah.
The survey done by Pew Research found the most common reason to get a tattoo. Anyone want to take a guess?
Remembrance.
It is remembrance. They want to remember someone or something. Okay? And 1 in 3 people say they got their ink to improve their appearance.
I would like to know how many have tattoos removed. What's the percentage of tattoo removals now?
It probably aligns with
Probably-
the divorce rate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think they run parallel. Don't even survey.
Check
Just
with Angelina Jolie. I have a friend actually who had her dog's paw print tattooed onto her.
Like the
arm.
five dots.
The paw.
and-
They took
okay.
an ink impression of the paw. and
So it's
then
an
the
actual-
tattoo
the
artist
the actual
actually
paw?
replicated her
Oh.
dog's paw on her arm.
Has the dog
Paw
passed
print.
away? Is that what
No.
she did it? Oh, okay.
No,
Still alive.
That's what she wanted. That happens.
I just think
I
that
get it.
aren't tattoos like
I just-
not
I just-
inexpensive.
I
I, don't,
just-
I don't have any.
It depends
so-
what you want.
They are expensive.
and
That blows
my
how
mind,
big
how
and
much.
how intricate.
Right, and so-
a matter of fact, many of the people I see with tattoos, I say, couldn't that have bought food?
Yeah. That,
I think of that
kind of
And the
every
answer to
day.
that is
That's kinda what I'm
the answer
going
to that
getting at,
is
too.
no. They spend it on cigarettes. No, I love the TikToks that I see on Twitter. I don't participate aggressively on
Such
Twitter.
a
He's
social media.
retired.
He's
just
retired.
going
He's
to
going
the-
through
the
social
TikTok.
media now.
of these people with the facial tattoos and the piercings all over the place, and they're sitting there complaining because they can't get a job.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, you never will either,
Right.
Well, maybe at a tattoo shop.
unless.
Well, it's at the credit union. This was
What
a
is the
topic a
rule?
long time ago.
Yeah.
The rule was you couldn't show your tattoos.
Keep them
So
covered.
people
all right.
who had tattoos would have to come in with the bandages on, or they have to come in with the cover up on, or whatever.
Oh, long sleeve shirts.
Right, or long sleeve shirts.
well,
guys with
that's
sleeves
why
and
many
stuff like that.
tattoo people who love their tattoos will get sleeves, but
Right.
it'll stop, and they always wear long sleeve shirts.
Right.
And it was the military. It's only been 3 years, I think, that they've allowed tattoos in certain branches of the military.
Yeah.
And visibility of the tattoo.
Right,
How
but
about
it's
facial piercings?
So that's a whole
I'd
nother.
love to know
that's a
your
whole
policy
nother-
on that.
So I think the policy is you can't have one of those bull rings in your nose,
Yeah.
but you could have a stud.
Do you have that policy outline that you can share with me? Because I think
I'll
we need
ask.
to refresh our policy
Yeah,
at
I'll
St.
ask.
Antoine.
Yeah.
So the irony of the mask wearing during COVID,
Yeah.
you hire staff in during COVID, everyone's coming in for an interview with masks on. Masks have been dropped, and we now have several employees that were underway. Underneath those masks are
Right.
quite a bit of piercings, and
But
we have no policy to
it's-
enforce otherwise.
okay.
Right. It is such a social norm now
It is.
that it forces you to reevaluate your personnel policy. And if you
Well,
want to hire people,
As I had a nephew who had gotten himself into a bit of trouble and came to live with me for a while. And he was going through this tattooing, piercing, and, I can do this stuff. And I said, yes, but people don't have to hire you. What do you mean? That's illegal. That's prejudice. That's bias. I
Good
said,
luck
guess
proving
what?
that."
You'll never know.
Yeah.
They'll let you come in. They'll talk to you, and they'll look at your piercings and your thing in your eyebrow and
later.
your thing in your ears.
Thanks for
and
coming in.
and they'll say, well, thank you. It's been a pleasure meeting you. And then
we
your
got other
resume will go in the
candidates.
trash.
Yeah.
I said, it's just reality. People aren't really interested in you putting out that public image of their company having all of this all over your face.
Right.
And
But I
they
think
don't,
even
they
Dis-
don't have to.
Right. But even Disney changed their policy on tattoos.
and facial hair and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A long time
You
you
can-
couldn't have any.
right.
And then
I mean, we can-
things change.
So you can have a tattoo if you have a sleeve.
Yeah.
It has to be you have to have at least a short sleeve shirt on.
Okay.
So it's partially covered, so it doesn't look like everything all over.
Yeah.
the place.
And it
no
depends,
facial
it depends on
tattoos.
the image, too, I would think.
Yeah, it's
There's
a hard
some
one
that are
because
really-
a lot of young folks, like you said, all have tattoos, and some of them are very tastefully done and they're very nice, and some are not, but you can't make that determination. Oh, your tattoo's nice, yours isn't. So you have to cover yours. You
Well,
don't have to cover
don't.
yours.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an across the board policy. But I guess my point is that we have had to adapt to the times
Yeah.
in order to allow, visibility of tattoos.
But I wish more parents would point out to their children, though, that it can affect your relationships, especially in the work environment, because you are supposed to be a presentation of the company you work for, and you're supposed to represent the message and the image that company wants to present. And so, yeah, if it's somebody that's going to be working in the back room on computers or
Not
on,
visible.
Yep, not
on,
visible.
on mechanical equipment, or somebody doing things that are where they're not interacting with the public, but they have a branch manager or a teller sitting there with a nose ring or the big earrings where the
those
circles
with
are
the
this
hoop.
big and there's a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
hole in them, or worse, when they take the ring out and it's just hanging there. And,
pleasant.
and facial tattoos. It's like, no, that's not a presentation.
The problem
you
is
want.
that singing
impression the
that
public
singer now,
have.
Post Malone, making it popular to have the thing over his
Facial
eyes.
tattoos, yeah.
Right. It's very challenging. I'm going to trump you in Navigant land. In healthcare, working with little old biddies who just don't understand
Don't
the
get it.
changing times,
Right.
and they're looking at someone with piercings thinking they're going to kill me. They look at it as a sign of you're a part of a gang, or you're into drugs, or even if it's just them saying I'm expressing myself and I'm whatever reasons they have for doing it. But it makes it
The little
very
old
hard.
biddies, they're expressing themselves too by not wanting to be serviced by those.
But
folks.
in a time,
But see,
when
the
you're
young
desperate
folks don't
for,
understand that
you
that's
know,
their opinion.
I know.
And that they're entitled to their opinion, just as the young
Yeah.
people are entitled to their opinion. Those two opinions don't have to match.
It's ironic to me, and we could dedicate a whole show to this, and I know we need to wrap up, but even 20 years ago in healthcare versus today, 20 years ago, the big hurdle was just discrimination and racism with elderly on staff coming in to help. We've overcome that hurdle 20 years later. That's no longer an issue anymore. But now this new wave is
What was
hot pink
that
hair
like?
and tattoos.
What was that like when one of the old biddies? One of the
Oh,
old
gosh.
ladies would say, I don't want him taking care of me.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Get him out of my
Challenging.
room.
Challenging. And then you add, dementia on top of it, and there's no filter, and you have staff putting in complaints about people who have dementia, saying these things that are very
Hurtful and
offensive. But
offensive, yeah.
so those hurdles are sort of moving away. Now new hurdles are
Right.
the piercings and the hot pink hair and the tattoos.
Yeah,
I can't wait till I can use dementia as an excuse to say inappropriate.
I would love to see you
All
with
right.
dementia unfiltered, to be
One-
honest.
Last good story of the day. Here we go. Down in Tennessee, there was a giraffe a baby giraffe was born, They believe it's the only giraffe in the world born without spots.
Yeah, I saw that this morning.
So cool.
Yeah, it's just a brown color.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's an endangered species. It's at the Brights Zoo in Limestone, Tennessee. Experts believe she's the only spotless giraffe anywhere on the planet.
Yep.
And now, she's 6 feet tall now, and you can vote on the name.
Yeah.
If
There
you
were
go to
some
the, if you
cute
go to the
ones.
zoo's Facebook page.
My
to
two
vote on the
favorites
name.
I'm
were
wondering.
Spot. Someone put Spot down, and someone put Dot. I thought
Spot.
Dot was cute. It's a
Spot
girl,
Dot.
right?
Dot,
Dot
yeah.
is
There
a
you
cute name.
Oh, I do Smudge.
Smudge.
I
Not as- not as cute.
I have to wonder though if it's really doesn't have spots, and I say that because from what I've seen of black jaguars,
Yeah.
they're actually leopards, and if you get the light right, there are actually spots
Black
in
spots
in the
black
coat
fur.
in the
Okay.
coat itself.
Just different color.
They're actually spotted, but they
This
have a
one's
black
just, if
coat
you see,
covering
it's
everything.
just one big
But I know
color.
that this one looked like it was just
It's
pure
all
color.
right.
Yeah.
I feel like between now and next week, with your retired time, it's something you can
No,
research for
I
us and
have-
bring it
I-
back
I'm
to the
still-
table next week.
I've now been retired for 7 weeks, and I'm still waiting for that day I get up and I think, I haven't planned anything for today. I have nothing to do. No, that hasn't come yet.
All right, we got to run.
Not even close.
We thank you very much for listening in. Tim Draper, thanks for coming in.
Joe, as always, it's a pleasure.
All right, and Melissa Smith, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me. See you next week.
All right, and John Ward, thanks for coming in.
It's been wonderful, and enjoy the God-given day.
Very good. This is Joe Callahan. Have a great day, everyone.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. The disciplinary records of police officers in the state of Massachusetts are now available to the public online. The website Peace Officers Standards and Training contains over 2,100 names. The records include officers who resigned or retired in order to avoid disciplinary action. Well, the 2023 Little League World Series run is over for the representatives from Rhode Island. The Little League team from Smithfield lost by a score of 9-3 versus their opponents from El Segundo, California last night. Smithfield was the first Rhode Island team to make it to the World Series in Williamsport in 4 years, and they really did us proud. Even in the loss last night, and all three of those runs, by the way, were scored at the last part of the game, they kept their chins up, and they kept smiling and kept on playing the game, even though El Segundo did them in last night. Be proud of the Smithfield Little Leaguers.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. 8 Republican presidential candidates will take part in a debate tonight in Milwaukee, with each hoping for a breakout moment. Rory O'Neill with a preview.